Hey guys, we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to download mods for Lethal Company. If you're already a little bit familiar with modding Lethal Company, I'll have the list of current mods that we have listed in the description below, or if you're part of the Discord server, pinned in the Lethal Company channel. For those of you that are new, obviously you need a copy of Lethal Company. I have it on Steam, so the first thing you want to do is go to Steam and go to your library, go down to Lethal Company in your downloaded games, right click, hover over Manage, and then Browse Local Files. This should pull up the pathway to where your Lethal Company is saved on your computer. So now that we have that, we're just going to push that over to the side for a minute, and we want to pull up the BepInEx website. BepInEx is going to be your hub of all of your mods and where they're saved on your computer. So the first thing we need to do is download that. You're going to want to choose the BepInEx x64 5.4.22. Once that's downloaded, you're just going to open it up, which should open up a zip file. Mine disappeared on me. There. And then we're just going to pull over our pathway to where we have Lethal Company saved on our computer. So what we want to do is we want to take everything that's in this file, and we're just going to drag it over into our Lethal Company folder for our computer. Now that we have BepInEx downloaded, we can close out of the zip file. Going into the BepInEx folder, you can see that we only have core. Once we do this next step, a few more folders will show up in here, but we're basically just going to close that, and we're going to open up Lethal Company. This is a quick open and close of the game, and you'll kind of see what that does when we get back into our save folder. So just open and close, nothing to do there. Going back to Manage, Browse Local Files. Going back into BepInEx, you now see that we have a few more file folders. Basically going into the game allows us to, or it creates these folders for us, so then we can put our mods in each one of them. The main two that we're looking at are going to be the configuration folder and the plugins folder. 99% of them are just going to have a plugins file that you're going to save in the plugins folder. A few of them do have a configuration file that you'll also need to save in the configuration folder. But most, like I said, about 99%, you're just going to have a plugins file to save. There are some that do create configuration files, so you don't have to do it yourself. It's kind of like we just did with opening and closing the game. It's going to kind of create that configuration file for us. So the next thing that we want to do is we go back, and instead of BepInEx, we're going to go to Thunderstore. And Thunderstore has basically a huge list of mods, and you can go to browse and kind of look at different ones that you're wanting to download or add to your game. But these are kind of the ones that we use, and these are updated regularly, so you kind of have to check if there's an update that some of the older versions might not work with the current version of Lethal Company. So you'll have to check it every now and then, especially if your game is not working, you get stuck in a wall, or when you load up the game, you just don't have access to your character. But the next thing that we want to do is we want to download the LC API. And to be completely honest, I don't know exactly what this one does, but it just allows all of the other ones to work. So this is going to be the first one that we're going to download. On this page, you don't want to select anything except for manual download. Once that's downloaded, we're going to open up that zip file, and where it is similar to the BepInEx, it has its own BepInEx folder. Well, we already have a BepInEx folder, so we don't need any of this stuff. We're going to click into the BepInEx folder, and you can see that we have a plugins folder. Well, we have a plugins folder here as well. So we're going to open up the plugins folder. Grab everything that's in the plugins folder, pull it into your saved plugins in your Lethal Company Lethal Company save. Now that we have that, you can just X out of it. And we have downloaded our first mod for Lethal Company. Now, with this, unlike when we downloaded BepInEx, we do not have to open and close the game every single time we download a mod. It is mainly just for BepInEx to create those extra folders. With these, like the LC API will create a configuration folder, or excuse me, a configuration file, but we don't have to do anything. Basically, once we open the game next, it'll create that configuration file for us, so we don't have to do anything there. There will be some mods that when you do the download, and right here I'm doing Brutal Company, where they do not have a BepInEx folder at the beginning. So all we want to do with this is we want to get back into our plugins, and we want to select everything in there and just drag it over. And we have now downloaded our second mod for Lethal Company. And as you can probably tell, a lot of these are just, hey, download it, open up the zip file, go into the folder, go into plugins, take what's in the plugins folder, and drag straight over. There are some that do have configuration files with them, so when you open up the BepInEx folder, instead of just having a plugins, it'll say plugins and config. If it does have that config file, all you want to do is go to your Steam library path where you have Lethal Company downloaded, and instead of pulling it over to the plugins file, you're just going to go into the configuration file and pull it over. So it's the same concept, but just be on the lookout for any zip files that might say configuration. But that is the simple version of how to download mods for Lethal Company.